morning and welcome to another live edition of Wealth Building Wednesday. Wealth Building Wednesday is brought to you every single Wednesday, 10 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. And we always have a great guest giving us information, news we can use, tools to help make our lives better, our financial lives better, and not just our financial lives, but we talk about things that are connected to building wealth. And that's not just the money part, right? We got to think about, what's our living situation like? What are we eating? Because all of this, if we're not healthy, we can't go out and get the wealth, right? And so Wealth Building Wednesday is brought to you by TRHT Selma. TRHT stands for Truth, Racial Healing and Transformation. We are an initiative that is a partnership between the Black Belt Community Foundation and the Selma Center for Nonviolence. It is always a pleasure to be here with you every single Wednesday, 10 a.m. I'm your host, Miss Lydia Chapman, and I am joined by an amazing guest who is out of Shreveport, Louisiana. So she is not an Alabama girl, but she is a Southern girl. Miss Germany, honey, the founder of powHER. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you this morning?
I am doing great. How about you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, and I'm excited for this conversation.
Yes, we spent some time behind. Listen, we have a green room here, honey, here on Wealth Building Wednesday. So we were chatting it up in the green room, having an amazing conversation. So this is going to be good. So tell a friend to tell a friend, tag people here. Okay, ask questions. You're already logged on. Ask questions. Fill the comments, and we want to make sure that we're having an enriching conversation because Purse Power. It is a unique brand. I told you, I saw it and I was like, oh my God, this is everything that we need. Like,
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm
yes.
still in awe that it made it to Alabama. I was like, what? Okay, God, I see you working.
Yes, I actually, and it's for the audience. I saw Miss Germany on a television, a news broadcast in Birmingham. And so I reached out. I said, wait a minute, we need her to be a resource to our listeners, to our viewers. And so I am so glad that you took me up on the invite and that you're here with me this morning to share with us some great information, some tools. And we're going to be talking because the holiday season is coming up,
Yes.
right? And some of
Yes.
us, we're thinking like, okay, so if I do this and then if I wait till the income tax refund, then I can go ahead and do that. We're going to talk about all that. So,
Yes.
but first, I want to ask you, what is Purse Power and how did you end up starting this amazing business?
So, Purse Power is empowering the whole woman spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. And I am the financial part of Purse Power. It actually birthed out of Money Manager Mika LLC. I was like, I just want to be a money coach. I just want to teach people how to manage their money. I want to show moms how to take care of themselves the same way they take care of their households and their babies. I was all about money coaching, but I kept hearing bigger. And then I started talking about having the money that we need right inside of our purse. Your purse power is you already have it. Just tap into it, right? And of course, life happens, and I went through things, and God showed me what the bigger was. He showed me what the more was. So, purse power is empowering the whole woman. Everything about her, making sure she loves herself, and then also taking that to love on her sister and spreading that love. So, we have everything that we need right inside of us.
Absolutely. And when you say that, it makes me think about the difference between when folks say, we want to empower people, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, no, you can't empower me. I have power within me
Yes,
already. It just
already
needs
inside.
to be ignited. Yeah.
Yes. And then think about it. As women, we all carry purses, right?
Yeah.
Some sort of purse.
Yeah.
And we're always throwing different things inside of our purses. If we have babies, we have snacks, we have diapers, we have all the things. But it's really cleaning out of that purse. And let me make sure I put things inside of it that I need. Cleaning ourselves out. Make sure I put things inside of myself that I need,
Yeah.
so that's what it is. And it's for my love of purses as well.
All right. Okay. Look, it's nothing
You
wrong
know
with
we
that.
have to love our
Listen.
purses.
Look, as long as we got enough money left over to put in them, it's a great person.
Exactly, exactly. Now we are not buying purses and then that purse is empty. We're not doing
Yes.
that. Not at
Right.
all.
So now let's talk about our relationship with money, right? So how's our relationship with money often impacted, because you're talking about the whole woman, so impacted by our emotional state or our mindset? Is there any correlation or relationship between that and how we what relationship we have with money?
I definitely think it's our mindset. Because I want to start with this because I
Mhm.
ask the question all the time. How many of us was taught money management in schools? How many of us saw money management right inside of the household? A
Right.
lot of us did not. For me, myself, I came from a single parent household. I never saw money management. We never talked about money management. All I knew is that my mom was working paycheck to paycheck to try to take care of the household. Sometimes it wasn't even paycheck to paycheck, it was a wish and a prayer that we're going to
Hmm.
make it to the next paycheck, right?
Hmm.
And that's a lot of emotional trauma within itself. And if we was never taught, we're repeating what we saw, right? And so I talk to people and I always say to start, get rid of any negative emotions you have, get rid of any fear you have, anything negative surrounding your money, get rid of it because money is just a tool that we use.
Yes,
So I start there all the time. And emotional shopping is a thing.
it
I'm one of
is.
those girls. When
Hmm.
we start going right, I'm her. If
It
we start
is.
going through things, guess what we'll start doing? We'll start shopping to make ourselves feel better. And
Hmm.
it's only for the moment, right?
Hmm.
Or we see other people taking trips. We're trying to do that as well to make ourselves feel better,
Hmm.
only for the moment. And then we'll right back where we started at. So I honestly think that money management,
Hmm.
it ties together with our emotional state. There's a lot of anxiety around money management. There's a lot of depression and stress around money management that nobody's talking about. Money management can be, or lack thereof money can be one of the number one causes of anxiety and depression,
Hmm.
especially in our community. So there's a conversation that needs to be had.
Absolutely. And I'm so grateful for you for stepping up to the plate and being obedient,
Thank
and,
you.
and seeking bigger because God said so.
Yeah.
Because this is really, talking about the whole woman and connecting the dots with our personal finances is so critical. And so when we think about the emotional shopping and how easy it is now with
Hmm.
Amazon, right?
Yes.
With
Yes.
Walmart, with Target, if you will, right?
Everything has the app. All you have to do is click
Yes.
on the app and check out on the app.
Yes.
And then
Right.
you're sitting there afterwards. It's like, oh, I spent rent money.
Right. Like, what did I
Oh, that
do?
was for the electric bill. Oh, that was for the moment. And now we're right back where we started at.
And so let me even help put some of this in perspective for folks, because just as you said that, it is easy for us to look at people oftentimes in society and dismiss people who may have substance misuse issues, right? If they're addicted to something like crack cocaine or alcohol or powder cocaine, heroin, right? Like, oh, you shouldn't do that. You're just drowning your sorrows. People's, smoking marijuana, using it not for medicinal purposes, but have created a habit out of it, right?
Mhm.
If you That is no different than for
Correct.
all of us who sit up with these cell phones and order baskets full of stuff from Timu, from
Mhm.
right, from
TN.
Shein. Oh, come on, see, we know where to shop,
We in
right?
business. We in our own
Right.
business right now.
That is and it's no hit, it's at any
Right.
of the businesses that we're talking about, but
Mhm.
it literally is
Mhm.
no different from those of us who go into the pantry and pull
Correct.
out the Lay's and the Doritos, and
Correct.
and now because some people respond to things differently,
Mhm.
whether it's emotional eating, emotional shopping, or I
Yes.
have to drink in order to get through whatever it is.
Yes, to make myself feel better. And it goes back to, I honestly put it with that's a mental illness. That's
Hmm.
something that we still need assistance with. We still need help with, because a lot of times if we get to the root of what's causing that
Hmm.
trauma, and then we can start to see something different within our finances, or you talk about the eating habits. If we get to the root to it, we can get rid of those negative eating habits. So it all ties in together. And nobody's having
Absolutely.
that conversation. We're just looking at people like, oh, she doesn't know how to manage her money. Oh, he
Hmm.
doesn't know how to manage his money. Oh, he has a spending problem. But where does that come from?
Right.
Yeah.
What did we grow up seeing? Because
Right.
and what some of the synergy that we're experiencing in this moment comes from, because we both have very similar backgrounds. Watching
Mhm.
single mom work, my mom worked two, sometimes three jobs, in
Mhm.
order to give me everything I needed, right?
Right.
And
Right.
most of what I wanted.
Right.
And
Yes.
so, and I even see myself doing that,
Yes. Oh,
working
we're gonna talk
multiple
about that
jobs.
too.
Right. So, but right, like
Yeah.
guilty, right?
Yeah.
But we're doing these things in order. I know for me, and we talked about this prior to going live, is for me, I want to break some cycles that have been
Mhm.
happening. Like, we weren't talking about money in my household, right?
Right.
I was almost grown when I realized how much my mom was making at her main job,
Right.
right?
Right.
So none of that information, we didn't understand credit going into college, right? And
Mhm.
so we're going to talk about that a little bit as we move through the show. But just the importance of us being able to dissect those things and not see counseling, right? Mental health
Right.
providers are featured on Wealth Building Wednesday. And folks have asked, like, well, why do you have counselors on Wealth Building Wednesday? Because how we think, so
Yes.
goes our mind, so goes our
Yes.
mouth, and so goes what we do.
Yes.
And
So
so when we
true.
can't clean out, like you said, can't clean out that purse,
Yes.
right? And put
Yes.
what we
That
need in
purse.
that
That
purse,
purse.
right?
Yes.
When
Yes.
we can't clean it out and put what we need in there, we end up doing things, whether it is physically having sex with
Mhm.
partners who we need not be connected to. It
Mhm.
could be financially shopping constantly, right? Or
Yes.
going through mood swings. And so we
Yes.
shop periodically, right? Or
Yes.
getting in the refrigerator, getting in the pantry and saying, okay, well, let me see what I want to eat because
Right.
I want to make myself feel better. And so what we don't want to do is create a hard time for ourselves as we come into a new year. If we are
Yes.
in October of 2023, we know that the holidays are just around the corner,
Mhm.
and we do not want to create heartburn and heartache for ourselves as we start to think about what gifts we
Mhm.
want to offer to folks. And so as the holidays approach,
Let's
many of
talk
us will
about
start,
it.
yeah, many of us will start heading out to the stores. We even right now have these days going on with some of the apps that we were talking about. I think Amazon wraps up today.
Walmart is
Yeah.
today, yes. And they keep sending it to us. They're reminding us of the sales. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And so as these holidays approach and we're starting to head out to the stores and utilize these apps, um, how can we prepare ourselves for wise shopping so that we're not taking on debt in order to gift our loved ones as we think about what they need or want for the holiday?
Yes. Two things.
Mhm.
The first one is I'll just say this right off the gate. Start early. A lot of us start here in October. We know Christmas come every year. December the 25th is coming every year. But we wait until October or November and it's okay, what bill can I kind of set to the side to
Mhm.
so I can start Christmas shopping, so I can start getting things prepared for the holidays. But if we start in January preparing for December, we can save a small amount of money over a longer period of time that will save us the heartache. It will save us the anxiety. It will save us the stress, right? So number one is thinking going into 2024, let's start in January. Let's set a money goal in January of what we want to spend in December, right?
Okay.
But right now, where we are now, we can still create a money plan. Okay, what do I want to do for the holidays? Thanksgiving. What do I want to cook? Do I want family over? What does that look like? Let's start writing it down and then creating a money plan. Well, how much can I spend? But it still goes back to us having a money plan, right? Taking a look at what we can afford, and we can definitely talk about that more.
Mhm.
But okay, I can afford to spend this for the holidays, for Thanksgiving, for Christmas. So if that's not enough, who can I ask for help? A lot
Mm.
of our issue, and I will say this, that we have pride. We don't want to ask for help. We don't want anybody in our business. We don't want people to know what we don't have. So we're
Mhm.
sitting to the side and not asking for help. And it says we have not because we ask not.
Correct.
So is it, can we come together as a family? Can we come together as a community and put Thanksgiving together? Right?
Absolutely.
Christmas is around the corner. Can I give y'all a tip that I started maybe 17 years ago that's saving me a lot of money? We look at everybody else and we're trying to overcompensate for what they are doing or what we didn't get as children, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I started with my son is 18 now. I started when he was a year old. We actually sat down and we talked about Christmas. We talked about the meaning of a Christmas. We talked about the birth of baby Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
right? My babies, and I have five, they only get three gifts for Christmas.
Oh
The three
wow.
wise men brought baby Jesus three gifts.
Uh-huh.
We're important. We're not as important as baby Jesus, right? So why are we getting all of this stuff and he only got three gifts?
All right.
So what it does is it eliminates the financial burden on me and my husband, but it
Mm-hmm.
also makes my babies think about what it is they would like to have for Christmas, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they're actually sitting down, they start early, and they're not asking for everything because maybe there's something that I don't want in 6 months, right? So
Mm.
it's giving them the true meaning of Christmas. It's holding them responsible. Now Santa still come, but
Yeah.
he's over there in my stocking stuffers.
Okay.
He does not get credit for what I worked hard for all year long, right? So
Okay.
he still comes to the Germany household, but he's putting in stocking stuffers.
Okay.
Because think about it, income tax season is right around the corner. So if
Mm-hmm.
we're going all out for Christmas, we still have another opportunity to buy things, right? But as parents, we're buying things all year round.
Yep.
So why are we making Christmas about all the gifts or because somebody else posted their Christmas tree with a lot of gifts up under the tree? We don't know if they're in debt. We don't know if they're still trying to go all year and pay for those gifts. So
Listen,
we
and you
can't
don't even know if it's anything in the
in
boxes.
those
It's a
boxes.
pretty picture, baby.
Right, for social media. Nobody's talking
Right.
about that. That's a picture
Right
for
for the
social
gram. Don't
media.
do that.
So stop trying to compare your household and your money to what you see on social media. Find out what works for you and work it. That's all I'll say, work it, but have a money plan.
Okay. And so what I'm doing, y'all, if you are logged in and you're watching this chat, I am taking notes so you will be able to go back through and write down the pointers that she is giving us because she is definitely giving us some great
Thank
information
you.
for the holiday season as we prepare to not go into debt as we enter 2024.
Yes.
And we have a question. We have a viewer who wants to know. She asked about, do financial institutions still have Christmas clubs? You talked about saving. Is that still a thing?
It is definitely still a thing now. I am a manager at Red River Federal Credit Union, so I know credit unions definitely still do Christmas clubs where you can save all year long, and
Mhm.
then in November the money is actually deposited into your account for you to go shopping, for you to do things for the holidays. So that is definitely still an option for you. And I say utilize your Christmas club.
And now
Yes.
is that when you utilize a Christmas club, so that money is not accessible, you can't go to the ATM and withdraw that money, right?
Correct. The difference between a just a regular savings account
Mhm.
and a Christmas club is, with a savings, you can withdraw at any time.
Okay.
Well, with the Christmas club, there's a penalty to take the money out. It can
Ah,
be anywhere from $5 to $25 penalty to withdraw money. So it's like, do I really want to lose the $5? Do I really want to lose the
okay.
$25 to withdraw from that account?
Okay.
So it kind of makes you think about, can you wait? So if you're trying to hold yourself accountable, I would definitely say get a Christmas club over a regular savings account.
Okay. And so now I know I grew up in an age, and now I'm about to date myself, where savings bonds were actually used as gifts, right?
Mhm.
So are there financial purchases that we can make, whether it is NFTs or any other forms of currency that you would recommend, stocks and bonds? Like, are those things that you would recommend that we start to give children? I know they might not get it, right?
Right, right. They don't.
Like,
The-
what is this?
So listen, I'm gonna age myself too because I remember when I first started in banking 19 years ago,
Okay.
18, 19 years ago. Yeah. So savings bonds was a really big thing. I noticed a lot of people came into the bank and they bought savings bonds for their babies. So when they
Mhm.
graduate, when they start college, they will have money to start out with. The only thing is one, it takes a long time. It can take up to 30 years for those bonds to mature.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually get your money's worth for them. And then now it's all online. So you have to go to I think it's the IRS or the US Treasury to
Okay.
actually buy the bonds now. You don't get the paper bonds in your hands. Everything is electronic. So a lot of us like to see it. We need
Mm-hmm.
something that's tangible and it's electronic. Um, I'm not really versed in the NFTs. I know there's a lot of different things out there that we definitely can take advantage of. We
Mm-hmm.
just have to do our research. The
Okay.
internet, it is everything that you're looking for is there. Is there.
And I wanna encourage folks to hear what she said about the savings bonds and the fact that it takes a long time for them to mature,
Hmm.
even with investing in the stock market,
Hmm.
right? Don't look for the immediate turnaround, and I
Hmm.
think that that's one of the things that and I'm going to say for Black folks, like
Hmm.
we
That
have been
scares
in
that scares
survival
us.
mode for so long that when we see an opportunity to like make money, we think that even with starting a business, like,
Hmm.
okay, the first year I'm about to
No,
blow up. It's like,
absolutely not.
right? Like that's not
Absolutely not. You're about to use your money for maybe
yep,
the first 1 to 5 years before you
right.
actually start seeing the return. So yes.
And so be in it for the long haul,
Mhm,
right? And so want to talk to you also about when we talk about the long haul. We were talking before going live about the differences between what we see, the habits that we see formed in Black households, and see this. And this is a relevant conversation. But the differences between how we see Black households typically, right? Not
mhm.
all. We are not
Yeah,
a monolith, right?
right.
But typically how we see Black households handle money versus how we see white households or other
Mhm,
ethnicities or other racial identities handle their money. And we want to talk about this because Wealth Building Wednesday is actually an offshoot of the need for us to understand the wealth gap, right? And for folks who are brand new to this terminology, the reality of the situation is that 1% of folks in the United States
mhm,
hold over 70, no, that's 10% hold over 72%. So the top 1% hold a third of all the wealth in
mhm.
this country. But only 10%, still very
Right.
small.
Very small.
Only 10% of Americans hold 72% of all the wealth. There is nobody who has yeah, black skin,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
That's a part of that. So we
Right.
look at people like Tyler Perry and Oprah who have these very inspiring stories, people who are billionaires, Jay-Z, Beyonce, the list goes on and on, Kanye, there are billionaires. But when
Mhm,
we talk about the control of wealth, there is a huge gap
mhm,
between what people make on Main Street and what
mhm.
people who hold the wealth of Wall Street, the huge gap. And so Wealth Building Wednesday is as a result of trying to close that gap. However, we need to in sharing info. And one of the things that we do is offer access to information. And that's
Yes.
exactly why Ms. Germany and all of our other guests are on this show, because we want to make sure that we equip folks with information. So when we talk about the choices that Black folks have tended to make with money, and there's data to support this is not some random assumption that either one of us is making. um Student loans, we talked about being in it for the long haul. That's how we got on this track, being in it for the long haul. Student loans versus trust funds and investing in life insurance and policies, whole life policies that can be used to finance education. When we talk about our young people, our babies, right? Not
Mhm.
being put on credit cards as authorized users, not to say they have to have the card, but
Right.
just that are on the card versus our babies being their credit,
Mhm,
their social security numbers being used to establish accounts.
mhm.
Let's talk about that.
Yes. Let's definitely talk about that.
So what's the impact that can have if we're a single mom, right? Because I know that the predominant audience is to women, right? Purse power,
Yes.
her,
Yes,
right?
it's hers.
So what? what's the impact that that can have when we choose to redirect opportunity, I'll say. And instead of having our babies a part of growing their credit and understanding
Mhm.
their credit, that we actually use them as pawns or tools, it
Yeah,
honestly, to
yeah,
try to create an environment for us that is clearly not sustainable. What's
yeah.
the impact of that?
I see it all the time. And again, it goes back to you talking about us being in survival mode. That's just one instance where we're trying to survive. Maybe I have a high debt on my electric bill, but I still need electric in the household. So I'm needing to use my baby's social security so we can still have electric, right? Those things happen all the time. Nobody's wanting to have that conversation, but it's happening. And I honestly think when we start educating our babies, that's how we're breaking generational curses,
Hmm.
by having those conversations, by looking for the information. I started giving away banking secrets, things that I've learned over my 17 years of banking, things that I was like, wait, nobody's teaching us that. Nobody's talking about that around us. For one, when we talked about putting our babies on credit cards, right? So what that looks like is when we change our mindset,
Hmm.
because we went to college, we graduated high school, we had everybody coming to us with credit card offers. 6 months
Yes.
later, we was in debt. I thought I could just swipe the card and decorate my dorm room. I
Yes.
thought I could just swipe the card and I can go to the next party, right?
Hmm.
Nobody taught us about using credit cards or using debt and doing it correctly. Okay, if I have a credit card, let me just make sure I'm not using no more than 20 or 30%
Hmm.
of what they give me on the credit card, right? Okay, if my credit card bill is $25, nobody's telling me, let me see if I can pay 35. Let me see if I can pay 50. Let me
Hmm.
see if I can pay it off each month. Nobody's having that conversation with us. So one, we have to start educating ourselves on how we can use debt wisely. Can I stop and say this?
Hmm.
Let's stop being scared to ask for help.
Yes.
That's got to be the
Exactly.
number one thing. Let's stop being scared to say, I messed up. I
Mm.
don't have it all together. And my money is crazy right now. Let's start having that conversation. Because I wish when I started my own money journey that I can say that, but I didn't know I can say that. I didn't know where to turn to even have that conversation. So let's start talking about it. Um, but outside of that, once we change our mindsets and learn how to use credit wisely, let's start educating our babies. Now let's have the conversation with them. Because like you said earlier, you didn't talk about money in the house. You
Mm-mm.
didn't know what your mom made until you graduated high school, right?
Right.
I have conversations with my babies. I show them my budget. Let me show you how much mom and daddy is spending on bills every month, right? We talk about
Yes.
money all the time. So they know what it look like. They get an allowance. They have debit cards. They know how to manage money and save money. I started that conversation now.
Yeah.
But with my oldest, I was like, I want to make sure when he graduate, he has a head start,
Yes.
how they give their babies a head start, right? So I have a credit card that he's an authorized user on. He does not have the credit card.
Mhm.
That's scary to think about it. But
Yes.
as I'm using that credit card and staying below 30%, as I'm
Hmm.
making payments to that credit card every month, it's reporting to the credit bureau that now he has credit
Hmm.
for credit card, right? So he's already establishing credit before he graduate, before he gets out into the world. Nobody's telling us that. So let's add our babies to these credit cards. Or let's talk about life insurance. For our community, it's
Yes.
sad to
Hmm.
say that it's not if we pass away, it's when we pass away because we all have a date, right? But
Hmm.
in our community, we're having plate lunch sales. We're having
Hmm.
to do GoFundMe accounts, or we're in debt with the funeral homes because we can't pay for the services
Right.
when we can get insurance. We can set our babies up for success. I see a lot of other communities get $500,000. They get a
Hmm.
$1 million life insurance policy when they're young, right? So
Hmm.
when they do pass on, their children, their grandchildren now have trust funds. Now they have large amounts of money deposited into their accounts. And we can set it up many different ways. We can set it up where you can't touch it until you're 21. You
Yep.
can't touch it until you're 25. You can't, there's so many things that we can do, but they have a head start. right? They have a head start with credit, they have a head start with funds where they can do things. So it's really about us educating ourselves and changing our mindsets.
Absolutely. And I'm so grateful for you talking about each of those in a little bit of detail, because this is relevant information, right? That we can walk away from. I've been typing in the notes. So again, if you're just logging on and you want to know what she has been talking about, honey, listen, it's in the notes. Look, I was a good note taker in college. I'm a good note taker in meetings. And so I am a good note taker even on live broadcast. So it's dropped in the comments. And so adding our children again to credit cards, right, that are used responsibly. Right now, we don't want to
Yeah,
put the baby on the credit card that's maxed out.
correct. Because now you're hurting their credit.
Right,
And they have
right,
a lot of work to do to repair it. So no, we
right.
don't want to do that.
Right. And then the work of repairing your credit, right?
Mhm.
So this is actually work that, especially if you have a credit union membership, then you can actually work. Most credit unions have a person on staff who can actually help you work through your credit repair or whatever
Yes.
situation. You let them know that you want to purchase a home and this is your goal. They may have a loan package already available for you, but if your
Mhm.
score is below where you need to hit in order to purchase that home through them, then they can walk you through the steps to repair your credit. And once it's fixed, y'all,
Yeah.
please let it stay fixed, because
Yes.
it you will recognize that it will take a minute. Now, can you pay folks to go in and try to fix your credit and things like that? Yeah, but you treated well when you had to work for it.
Correct, correct. And there are things that you can do to repair your credit yourself. Start small. Again, it starts
Mhm.
back with your money plan.
Yep.
If it's a credit card that you're wanting to pay off, for example, okay, I have a $500 credit card that's
Mhm.
maxed out. How can I pay it off? Let me set a goal. Do I want to give myself 6 months to pay off that credit card? Do I want to give myself a year to pay off the credit card, right? Reach out to the creditor. That's another thing. We avoid creditors. We don't want to answer the phone. Tell them I'm not
Mhm.
here.
Yeah.
Let me block the number. Have a conversation,
Yeah.
because a lot of companies have things built into their company that can
Mhm.
actually help with that, right? But
Mhm.
if we're not having a conversation or we're avoiding the conversation, we'll never know. With credit card companies, they can actually stop your credit card, or they can close it, right?
Mhm.
Where it's no longer adding interest to it. You still owe the debt, but
Mhm.
the interest is not piling up every month. And then you can actually start to pay the credit card off if you need to, and it's like I'm not having to worry about 50, $60 in interest. I just have the $500. Now,
Right.
how long do I want to give myself to pay off the $500? And then add it to your budget.
And that's a great tool to use, right? And the fact that you called money a tool, I'm sure
Mhm.
that there's some viewers that were like, oh, wait a minute, they know each other, and I promise you, this is our first time having a
But
conversation.
it would not be the last
It
time. You're
sure will
trolling me.
not be. Listen, I literally say that all the time, that money is a tool.
Mhm,
How we use it can make a difference for
mhm.
our lives, but
Right.
then also the generations behind us. And
Yeah.
so if I have to take a hit in order to get this tool in shape, right,
Mhm.
to sharpen this sword, if you will, if
Yes.
I have to work extra hard, if that means that my great grandchildren don't have to
Yes.
struggle, then I'll
Because
take
we
the
may
hit.
not see it. I say
Yep.
it all the time. I may not see it, but if
Hmm.
my babies see it, if
Yeah.
my babies learn from it and they're okay, so guess what? They can teach their children a little more than
Yes.
they knew. And
Yes.
that's how we're honestly breaking those generational curses that we're talking about is with education and sharing what we know. And
Absolutely.
it's a lot of hard work, but
It
we have to be
is.
willing to do it.
It really, really is. But
Mhm,
the effort, listen, the effort that we put into going on social media, trying to keep track of
mhm.
what other people were doing, spend half of that time
Yes. Yes.
investing in yourself and learning information about how we can better handle our own finances. Y'all, we will put ourselves in a whole different financial
Yeah.
ballpark.
We
We
will.
are,
A lot of the moms that I talked to about that, I was like, tell your friends no, I can't go on that trip right now. And guess what? If they're your friends
they'll
and they truly
understand.
love you, two things will happen. One, they will understand,
Mhm.
or two, let me see what I can do to help.
To help. That's it. Yep.
Two things. I totally understand, or what can I do to help?
Hmm.
But we're getting ourselves in debt trying to go on the trips, or
Right.
we're trying to go out to dinner, or we're trying to do the things that we see everybody on social media do. Put social media down just for a moment,
Yep.
create a money plan, create a budget, create
Mm.
a savings goal, or put it down and find the help.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And finding the help is exactly what we did when we found you. Listen, and
thank
Purse Power,
you.
I want to make sure that people are able to get in touch with you, because not only do you provide this type of information in open dialogue, you also have classes and groups. And so I want folks to be able to get in touch with you. If I want to learn more about how I can ignite my purse power, how can I reach out to you?
A couple of things you can do. I am on social media, but I'm there giving out information. So
Yes.
you can follow the Purse Power page. It's just the way it's spelled, Purse Power, HER at the end. On Facebook, we have a lot of great things that are coming. I teach money management classes all the time. I do one-on-one money sessions all the time. The information is there in the bio, or you can find me, Omekuis Germany. I have everything there on my social media in my bio as well. And then also www.pursepower.com. We have information and events there. Like right now, we're doing a self love journey for Black women. It has been absolutely amazing. It has been eye opening because I didn't know, so many of us don't know what self love is. We're so used to
Mhm.
putting ourselves on the back burner to make sure everybody else is okay. I'll get to me later. That's where the emotional shopping come from, because I'll get to me later,
Yeah.
right? That's that mindset. Um, we talk about the spiritual health. Well, where are we in our spiritual journey? One of the therapists in the group, she was like, if we have everything together mentally and
Mhm.
physically or financially, but if our spiritual is off, everything else is off. Those are conversations that we're having. So we're doing everything we can to empower the whole woman.
And so I'm so excited that that the Birmingham News look decided to feature you, and we were able to make this connection. This is certainly not going to be your last time on Wealth Building Wednesday. As a matter of fact, we may build out some other things. I know there's some ladies who are viewing now, like, "Ooh, I know her wheels are turning." I know Lydia well, and her wheels are turning.
And I'm
So
and
we
I'm
may end up with
here.
a branch of Purse Power in Alabama, honey. Look.
Hey, I'm here for it. Let me know. I'm definitely here for it.
Yes. So yeah,
There's
this
a
is
there's a lot that we can talk about with finances. I know when I said budget earlier, a lot of people cringe when we talk about budgeting. That's a thing that we can talk about because it's not just for bills. Budget for
right.
the fun things in life. Add
Yes.
yourself to the budget. Add
Yes,
family trips to the budget. There's so many things we can do with that money management. It's a journey.
it
It
is.
doesn't happen overnight.
Right. And so, because what you said, there's no better way to close than talking about the journey, right? Life is a journey, and y'all,
Yes.
we better get used to it and enjoy the journey.
Yes.
It doesn't have to feel heavy. It can feel like a beautiful experience if that's where we shift our mind to. So, again, I just want to thank you for joining us this morning. We're going to continue this conversation offline. Y'all, thank you for tuning in to another live edition of Wealth Building Wednesday. We broadcast every single Wednesday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. We bring you information and resources that you can use to build wealth. So, until next Wednesday, I really need y'all to get off of social media now that you're done looking at us and get out here and start building your wealth.
Yes. Yes.